Cancer survivors of Reddit, what was the symptom that convinced you to see the doctor? My wife was losing weight and then her lung collapsed, no pain, trouble breathing. Stage Roman 4 non-small cell lung cancer. Diagnosed 2019, chemo, immuno and radiation, she's been cancer-free going on 2 years, it is possible. I was putting on my bra one day and felt a lump the size of a golf ball. Freaked out and went to the ER. They did an ultrasound and said it was nothing, but would schedule another ultrasound in 2 days. Did that one and they said it was nothing. A couple days later, my doc called me because she saw that I had them done. She didn't trust the results and sent me to a breast assessment center. They did a mammogram and said that they would schedule a biopsy. Did the biopsy a week later. It was cancer. Within a month, it was the size of a softball and in my lymph nodes. Aggressive chemo, a double mastectomy, and a year's worth of maintenance chemo later, I'm good. Feb 2 I was 6 years cancer-free. Peeing blood. Found out I had stage 4 renal cancer. Haven't beat it yet, but I am kicking its ass. When I was 6 I had cold flu symptoms. Mom took me to the doctor and they said that's what it was. My mom convinced them to do blood work because she felt it was something else. Ended up being leukemia and we were lucky to have caught it early. Still alive over 35 years later. I went in for a hernia operation. When I woke up there were a bunch of doctors standing around me looking concerned. They said there was a complications when they went and they noticed my appendix about to explode, so they took that out instead. I thought that was a good idea and asked when they could fix the hernia. They looked at each other and said the appendix looked a little weird, so they sent it to the lab, and they'd get back to me. Turns out it was appendix cancer. So painful headaches that I couldn't sleep, eyeballs did hurt too, I had troubles with keeping myself balanced, and bright light gave me a little pain. Stage Roman 4 brain cancer, glioblastoma multiforme. There is no cure for that. And 2021 when diagnosed, almost 29-year-old now. But my time is running out. I feel horrible and hopeless. I just can't do it anymore. No symptoms. Just my primary saying, well, it's been 5 years since your last mammogram. Let's get you another one. My little brother was having night sweats like soaking his bed bad and terrible pain in his pelvic area. The ER kept sending him home for like a month and thought he was a drug chaser due to his age in mid-20s. His blood work was all jacked up and still wouldn't take him seriously until his wife, who was a nurse at the hospital, forced the issue, and then they found part of his pelvic bone eaten away due to acute lymphoblastic leukemia. He's now 3.5 years post-bone marrow transplant and traveling to Germany soon to meet his life-saving donor later this year. This is not the thread to read as a hypochondriac. A fever of 102 to 103 for 4 days straight, extreme exhaustion, and then I started having terrible night sweats. I've already had 2 heart transplants, so I'm pretty used to toughing it out when I'm sick. I waited for 4 weeks to go to the doctor. The first doctor couldn't find anything wrong with me and said to take Tylenol for the fever. I had a weird feeling, so I booked an appointment with my old pediatrician even though I was 19. After 5 minutes of looking at me, he felt my lymph nodes and down my spine and told me to go immediately to the ER. When I asked him why, he said just go. Turned out I had tumors in my lymph nodes, on my heart, and it had spread to my spine. Stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma. My pediatrician saved my life. My speaking voice dropped over an octave over a period of a few months. My ear hurt all the time. No matter what I drank, I constantly felt like there was something stuck in my throat. I was eating Benadryl every few hours, convinced it was allergies. Eventually, I was so hoarse that I could hardly do my job. Vocal cord cancer. Laryngeal. 2 years cancer-free. I did come out with a very 1940s Hollywood leading lady voice meets Janis Joplin. I actually kind of like it. And I very much like being alive. No symptoms, my first mammogram. When I got home after they confirmed it, I still couldn't feel the lump, it was too deep. Women, go for mammograms. My back pain was so severe that I couldn't even sleep, so I went to urgent care. The x-rays found a kidney stone in one kidney and noticed my other kidney was enlarged. It was enlarged due to a tumor in my ureter. A nagging cough, unexplained weight loss, fatigue. I made up excuses about what could be causing them. A big mistake. Not my story, but my dad's story. About 25 years ago, my parents' best friend was in her 40s and dying of leukemia. They had caught it pretty late. My parents were both pack-a-day smokers at the time. They decided that they should make some changes in their life, quit smoking and get some general screenings just in case. It turned out that my dad, also in his 40s at the time, had a pretty aggressive form of prostate cancer. He was lucky that he got checked when he did, because he probably wouldn't have lived to see 50 if he ignored it. They did surgery and followed up with radiation and chemo. He's been cancer-free for over 20 years now, So to OP's question, there were no specific symptoms for him, just an introspective urge to not be in the same boat as his friend. My Brittany Spaniel started digging my breast and sniffing aggressively. She was right. Extreme fatigue. I sleep the whole night, only have to roughly an hour's worth of energy in the morning before feeling wiped from doing something as basic as eating breakfast. I had chalked it down to just having a lingering flu since the fatigue. Dull body aches and overall feeling of malaise felt super familiar. Yup, wasn't expecting cancer at all. Ida, for those who keep asking, it was lymphoma, but initial blood work didn't pick up anything alarming. A more extensive panel was ordered and something obviously caught the attention of doctors that time, and I also underwent a CAT scan. Had blood in my stool. Had to go poop more often. No pain or anything. One time a lot of blood came out. Went to a Merck and got a colonoscopy. Stage 4 colon cancer that had spread to my liver as a 31-year-old. Not me, but my dad, and not quite related. But he had lower back pain unrelated to the disease and went to see the doctor. When he went, she did a checkup and told him that mole looks a bit odd, you should get it checked. Mole turned out to be Hep C that had caused cirrhosis on his liver, which had turned to cancer, and he had months to live. He went straight to the top of the transplant list and got a new liver. That was over 10 years ago. He's doing good now. Nagging abdominal pain like a pulled muscle, that persisted for over a month. Doctor mostly ignored me for the first 3 visits. Had my gallbladder out for gallstones, but pain persisted. Doctors said it was pleurisy, nothing to worry about. I finally got mad and took myself to the ER and said I had chest pain. X-ray tech saw a faint shadow, asked the doc if we could take another look. Turned out to be a baseball-sized tumor that my chiropractor had said was a knot in a back muscle and had been doing deep tissue massage to treat. Malignant pleural mesothelioma. Eternally grateful to that X-ray tech.